episode of POV Italian, where you see cooking from my point of view. Today we are going to be making Uova con Pomodori, which is eggs with tomato. Two flavors you may not think go well together. I kind of tried this one time. I saw this recipe again. This is another one of those recipes that I've tweaked to make it my own. The recipe I saw was using fresh tomatoes. There's no good fresh tomatoes right now in Ohio in the dead of winter, so we're going to use some canned tomatoes. And also the canned tomatoes is a little quicker. So it's definitely a great flavor once you get it all together. A little bit of basil, salt, pepper. Really, really simple dish. It is morning. I am wearing my Star Wars gear. I've seen the movie once with my wife. But we're going to go back again today with my youngest son. My wife has some plans with a friend in town, so I am going to go see it again. Great movie, no spoilers, so no worries. So I've shared with you before how I really have not a drop of Italian blood in me. Kind of a mutt. English, German, French blood. But my wife, she has some Italian blood in her. Her mother's maiden name is Parati. We'll share a little bit about her family. We're gonna have some fun with this, but I'm also gonna share a little bit about kind of some of the stories that her mother shared with us about how the Italians came to be in the part of the state where she's from, which is Gallipolis, Ohio, down on the Ohio River. So I'll share a little bit of that while we're cooking. So let's get started. We'll take a look at our ingredients. Okay, for our Uova con Pomodori, our eggs with tomato. Of course, we're going to use eggs and tomatoes. Again, Cento San Marzanos. If you guys don't have these in your cupboard and you're cooking Italian food, get 3 or 4 cans and keep them. Every single time we're at the store, I'm buying those. Love them. Of course, salt, pepper, and olive oil. I'll use a little bit of garlic, and we're going to use some basil. If you saw one of my earlier videos, we were using some quote-unquote living basil, which was really dead. So we're going to go over how to cut your basil again. So these are our ingredients. Let's get started. I'm going to cut away real quick and come back because I want to get things reorganized for us, so we can really get our ingredients prepared and get breakfast on the table because we're really hungry. Okay, we've got our work area kind of reset. First thing we're going to do is we're going to use some garlic. And we'll probably use, we'll say maybe 3-4 cloves. Because again, we here like a lot of garlic. But just adjust it to your taste. If you like garlic, go for it. If you don't, just back off of it a little bit. And the only way to know how much garlic you like is to cook. Just try it. So, all right, let's get this garlic skinned. Yep. All right, this skin came off real easy. The rest of these, we're just gonna have to do the old crush and peel. Makes it much easier. Look at that, skin coming right off of that. Okay. Ooh, that one we destroyed. There's 100 different tricks to peel your garlic. They're all kind of right, so it doesn't really matter. Just do what you got to do to get your garlic peeled. All right. Cat's in the background making noise again because it's morning, and that's what he does. So I've had my coffee. Got up and used the last of the lavazza, so we got to get to the world market today. We have our coffee for in the morning. Now we're going to want to do a fine chop on this garlic since it is going to be in our eggs. Try to get a nice small uniform chop. You guys will see as you start to use a lot of garlic, that garlic oil is really, really sticky. Really sticky stuff. All right, that's probably good enough for our garlic. We're gonna buzz over to the sink real quick and just kind of rinse the oil off our hands and off our knife. It's kind of sticky. Got a towel somewhere. Here we go. Okay. So that's our garlic. Now our basil. This basil's not much better than what we had before, but there's more of it. So some of these leaves are got some brown spots on them. Wow. It's just not a good time for garlic. Or I'm sorry, not a good time for basil. Okay, now we really like, in addition to liking garlic, we really like the flavor of basil. We love the, especially with eggs. Man, basil and eggs were made to go together. So we're gonna get a lot of basil cut up. Now we may not use it all, but again, it's better to have it cut up. And it's not like this basil's any count worth saving beyond what we're going to use right now. Look at that, those big old brown spots. That's not good. So I think we found enough leaves here. All right, the secret to cutting up basil is, let's get the camera adjusted here. Get your biggest leaf and just start stacking in smaller and smaller the best you can. Just stack them up. Like so. Try to stack them up the same way. If you get a couple smaller ones in there, no big deal. Of course, if we get them laid the right way. Can you tell the coffee hasn't kicked in all the way yet? All right, so then what you do, get this out of the way. We roll it up as tight as you can, like you're making a little basil cigar. Push this garlic out of the way a little bit more. And it chops really easy. Now, in some recipes, you want the little basil ribbons, and this is what this kind of cut will give you, is the little basil ribbons. This recipe, we don't really want the ribbons, but rough cut would be okay as well. So what we're gonna do is pile this up. The cat's over there torturing the dogs. So if you hear some growling, the dogs don't like the cat as much as the cat likes the dog. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's pile it up and give it one more quick little chop, and we're gonna call our basil ready. And we get started on the good stuff, the eggs and the tomatoes. This dish, it takes longer really to cut up your garlic and basil than it does to make the rest of the dish. Okay, I'm gonna pause, clean up, and we'll be right back. Okay, we are set up now over by our stove. So, what we're gonna do, first, we're gonna get some oil in the pan. And while not a lot of oil, really this does not take a whole lot of oil. We just need enough to keep our everything from sticking. We're gonna get our canned tomatoes going here, and we'll see if I can win the battle with the can opener. Look at this. All right, so I actually got the can opener to work this morning. Wow. All right, turn the heat on. It's not going to take long for our oil to get hot. So while we're waiting, so shared with you, my wife is of Italian blood, at least partially. Her mother, her last name is her maiden name is Perotti. So grab my towel real quick. So the Perottis, along with a bunch of other Italian families, the Rocchis, Marschis, Bastianis, Brunicardis, and Aldericis, all somehow ended up in this little town of 5,000 people called Gallipolis, which is a French city. I guess Gallipolis means city of the Gauls or whatever. But anyway, all these families ended up there. Now we do know that some of these Italian families are from a little place called Bagna di Lucca. So, Bagna di Lucca, I'll tell you what, let's get our eggs on. Now, you can use fresh tomatoes with this, and if you had fresh tomatoes, you would want to blanch them, peel them, seed them. That's why it's early in the morning, and that's why we're using these. So, now I have seen these eggs made, ooh, hot pan. I've seen these eggs made with just the tomato juice. I've seen them made with just tomatoes and very little juice. And actually, I've made them both. I've made them pretty much both ways. Today, this is the first time that I'm trying it this way, where we just kind of hand crush some tomatoes, let the juice sit in here. Then we're going to crack our eggs and cover our pan. Okay, we just about got enough eggs here, or I'm sorry, enough tomatoes. Tell you what, we're going to call that done. Now, let's go rinse our hand real quick. Okay, quick dry. And back to our pan. Now is when we're going to add our salt, our pepper. We could have started with our garlic as well, with our olive oil to kind of infuse the olive oil. Probably should have, but the brain's not firing on all cylinders. Yeah, new pepper grinder working out great. Let's get our garlic and our basil in the pool. Let's try that. Give it a quick stir. See how everything looks. All right, so we've got all these families that end up in Gallipolis. Now, Vicky's family, mother's name's Joanne. Well, the Paratis, there were mom and dad and 4 kids. Now, mom and dad were Joseph and Josephine. Yeah, that's pretty interesting that Joseph married Josephine. Well, their kids were Hugo, Vince, Frank, and Eva. And all of them had businesses. And apparently there was this guy named there was this guy named Boss Fontana. And Boss Fontana told them all what kind of business they were going to open. There was they opened several bars. There was like Highway Inn, Joe's Place, and Vince's. And then there was a shoe shop that Hugo started. And that shoe shop is still in Gallipolis today. Different family owns it now. But the guy that owns it still uses a lot of the equipment that Hugo had put in place. Now, if you want to see something funny, this, again, this kind of sounds like you've got Boss Fontana from New York who comes to Gallipolis and tells everybody what businesses they're gonna start. And if it kind of sounds kind of like a mobster movie, I'm gonna pop up a picture now of Hugo, Vince, Frank, and Eva, and check this picture out. If it sounds like a Godfather episode, it looks like it too. So interesting picture, but a lot of history in Gallipolis. So, in such a small town. We left that behind to move up to Columbus. But anyway, that's kind of, my wife really got me into the Italian heritage. That's why I'm really into it now, and why we're going to, go to Italy, go visit Bagna di Lucca, where her family and some of the other families in Gallipolis are from. Try to hook up with some other Paratis while we're there. Now, we're going to let this simmer for a few minutes. We want the garlic and the basil flavors to get really infused in this. I don't feel like I added enough salt. There we go. A little more salt. Now, we're going to break away we're going to let this simmer 3 minutes. So we're going to break away. I'm going to clean up my mess a little bit here, and we'll be right back. Okay, it has been just about 2 minutes. I just think, I'm just feeling like I need to let this go another minute or two. Now, if you're using fresh tomatoes, it is going to take longer to make this, because you want the tomatoes not really to break up and turn to mush, but get them to almost to that point. And again, it really just depends on how tender you like your tomatoes. If you like them mush, cook them to mush, because the tomato flavor is going to meld with the eggs regardless of what you do. So you see got a pretty good boil going here. I just want to make sure that the garlic has time to kind of really enrich this sauce. And all we're going to do is we're going to break our eggs on top of this tomato mixture, and then put a lid over it so our eggs will get done. Let's go ahead and do that. I think we've got enough time on that. Now I've got a little paper plate over here to kind of put my shells on after I cracked my eggs. And also all we do is just kind of around the pan, break your eggs. If you use a smaller pan, you won't need so many eggs. If you use a bigger pan, you need more eggs. Oh, look at that, a double yolk. We got a double yolked egg. Don't see that very much.
guess I better play the lottery today, right? Since we got a double yolk. Look at that, and I haven't even broken a yolk yet. Uh-oh, made a mess there. That one will get me in trouble. Let's try to fill your pan with egg. And then all you do to get this to kind of set, let's do one more egg. I feel like we need one more egg. Let's do it right here in the center. Let's give it a little shake. Then we're going to put our lid on, but we're going to just kind of set it just to hold in the heat, but not the steam. We're going to turn our pan up. We're going to let that set. Our eggs are going to set up and be nice and yummy. Tell you what, let's give it a little bit, nothing better with eggs and pepper. We've got enough salt in the sauce. You can see here some of our eggs already starting to set just a little bit. We put this top on and it holds in the heat. We're going to kind of put it into, allow it to vent steam. You can see here we've got enough area, room for it to vent the steam, but hold in a lot of that heat. And we're just going to let it sit here and just kind of simmer. I like a soft yolk, so I don't want to overcook them so the yolk's hard, but you got to get your eggs done through so you don't end up sick. So we're going to be back here in just a couple minutes and check on our eggs. Okay, it's been 2 minutes and you can see our eggs again are starting to set up more. I'm going to leave the lid on them. And actually what I'm going to do, you can do this as well, and I should have done this earlier. I'm going to go ahead and get our oven preheated, because if I don't get these to start setting up, I will throw them in the oven to finish them. I've done that several times in the past and it's worked out well. The downside of throwing them in the oven for a finish is your yolks can get hard clear through, but they're surrounded by heat in the oven where you lose a lot of heat through the through your cooktop. So it's only been 2 minutes. We'll give them a couple more minutes, give them a chance to set up. Be right back. Okay, what I've done, we've got an egg over here at the side that's not getting done because this pan is much bigger than my burner, so I've just kind of readjusted, and I'll do this a couple times, so keep that in mind as you're cooking. And if you got a small burner, just adjust your pan around to get done what you need done. Looking good. These have been on now about 4 minutes, so we'll be right back. Okay, this is one of those days where they don't want to get really good and done on top. I've been preheating the oven. It's not quite preheated yet. We're going to go ahead and throw this in the oven for just a few minutes to get it surrounded by heat. Not so long as that our yolks get hard, but just 2 minutes in the oven, these things will be ready to go. Again, I've got my oven set on about 375, 400, so it won't take much to get these done. So we'll be right back. Okay. Our eggs have been in the oven for 2.5 minutes. Let's check them out. Yep, they are done. I'll burn ourselves here and get this up on the stove top. Alright. Try not to cook ourselves. Reset the camera. Look at that. Wow. And the eggs, yeah, the yolks still are not hard. That looks incredible. Get some of this plated here. I love this stuff. Make sure I get some of that good tomatoey goodness. Look at that. You could finish this with a little bit of Parmesan, have some toast with it, or make you a nice crostini. But what we're going to do is we're just going to set over here and give this a taste and see how it turned out.
All right, so we have our tomato, I was going to say tomatoes and eggs, but it's Uova con Pomodori, our eggs and tomatoes, plated. I don't have any toast. I didn't make any. So we are just going to see how this turned out. Now our yolks turned out over medium. This is such a hard recipe to make and keep your yolks real runny. You can do it. It just didn't happen today. So let's give this a shot. A little bit of the eggs and tomato together. Wow. The wife's off camera looking at me nodding going, oh yeah. I apologize if there's a lot of glare. I didn't put a hat on this morning. So if you're getting head glare, that's because that's the way my head is. This is so easy to make. You can do it if you don't have fresh basil. I've used dry basil. It still turns out really flavorful. No real substitute for garlic. I suppose you could use garlic powder. But wow, this is really good. So I hope you like this video, and don't forget to click subscribe. I really want your comments. Leave your comments down below. If I'm doing something wrong on these videos, what could I do to improve? What do you want to see me cook? I think I was asking the wife, gee, what should I try to make? And she suggested risotto with scallops. Now, she generally makes the side dishes. She's the risotto maker, so I'm going to give risotto a shot. She's also the one, I've never really cooked scallops, but I'm not going to do a test cook. I'm not going to try to figure it out. We're going to cook scallops. I'm going to do a little reading, maybe watch a video, but if we screw them up, we're going to screw them up together. So, thanks for watching Point of View Italian. Informed of future episodes, just click the subscribe button in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. Yeah, if you have any comments or you want to learn how to prepare a particular Italian dish, put that down in the comments below. I'll read all the comments. Don't forget to follow us on social media. If you look on Instagram at instagram.com/povitalian, on Twitter at twitter.com/povitalian, and on Facebook at facebook.com/povitalian. If you'd like to contact me by email, you can contact me at povitalian@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later. Ciao!